Well, hello and welcome to a special National Small Business Week episode of the Small Business Matters podcast. As an official Small Business Week sponsor, ADP is a key partner of Experian, so I'm thrilled to invite on CT Mobley. He's the Divisional Vice President in their Small Business Services Group. CT, welcome.
Thank you, Gary. Glad to be here.
Thanks so much for coming on. Could you get started by just sharing a little bit about your current role there at ADP and some of the things that you work on?
Sure. So my role here at ADP, my title is the Divisional Vice President of Small Business Services and Diverse Markets. And what I often tell people is our job in my channel is to create the connective tissue between corporate social responsibility and the bottom line. Another way to frame that up is to think about, how do we continue to lean into doing the right thing without impacting the bottom line, without it actually having an ROI. It's very hard for any corporation to kind of continue to do those types of altruistic efforts if there's no real impact. And I would offer those communities that need that impact, we have to kind of create ways to make sure that we maintain that connectivity.
So again, we're celebrating Small Business Week. We know that you guys are going to be there. What kinds of activities are you going to be taking part in there?
I think some of the things that are important for us, and I think important for the audience to understand, is that more than 800,000 of our 1 million clients are small businesses, and these are the small businesses that trust ADP as their payroll provider. And what we try to do is make it easy for them to do more than just offer a paycheck. So our clients and what we try to put forward and the information we try to share with them is that they can benefit from our health insurance and retirement plans. At ADP, we like to say we're with you from hire to retire. But we also want to make sure that the employee perks are available, discounts, and all that kind of good stuff. We also try to make sure that we are staying current with them and infusing powerful technology and data for them to make informed and accurate decisions. As an example, we provide smart tools that are powered by AI and machine learning to flag potential errors before they happen within what we do. And again, I think that's all a part of our larger strategy to make sure that folks are not just surviving, but they're thriving. So all of the implications that come across in the life of a small business, we try to highlight those things and create sort of those aha moments for them before the unfortunate scenarios that we often see happen. So as I think about Small Business Week, we're trying to push that information forward and leveraging all of our resources and partnership relationships to do so.
Yeah. And a lot of these businesses are new. New businesses are opening at a high pace, with 2022 monthly average around 44% higher than pre-pandemic levels. And many of these businesses are being started by new entrepreneurs. How is ADP supporting these emerging businesses?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I would tell you it's central to what we do, right? So I like to look at. I've been in this space for, call it, the last 10 years, and I would tell you that the small business growth that's been happening has really been happening over the past 10 years. I think once you start to peel the onion back a little bit, you start to realize that a lot of that growth was always happening in the underrepresented group space. And when I say underrepresented group, that means the Black or Latino or Asian, women, veterans, LGBTQ plus, disabled, all of those communities. They've really been kind of driving this train. What happened during the pandemic and the growth that you're talking about now is that the great what do they call it? The great resignation actually turned into the great reassessment. And we started to see people who had day jobs, but maybe weren't able to go into the office, kind of make some decisions about what they were doing. And as they made those decisions, we started to see really exacerbated growth in the past 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And again, when you peel that onion back, you started to see it was really underrepresented groups that were driving it. More specifically, women and women of color have been the tip of the spear.
Yeah.
Right. So for us, as we approach the market, we're thinking about what are those pitfalls, what industries are they in, and how can we support them? How can we give them the know-how? Again, going back to that aha moment, folks get into a business, and a lot of times, I think about the younger generations or younger folks, and I think sometimes they are fearless. They're ready to run right at it. I have two millennial kids, kids myself, and neither one of them has ever really had a job. They both run their own businesses. They always have. They're successful at it. But I remember going through their business plans with them. And I wonder, does everybody have somebody that they can go through a business plan with and have some expertise to kind of lean on? What we try to do at ADP through diverse markets is create that subject matter expert and that shoulder to lean on, that place to go get the information and learn those things that you just didn't know, and help them. Things like coaching them on, taxes and compliance, right? We see a lot of it, as you mentioned, there's been a lot of growth, but 40% of those businesses that were coming on were also failing. They weren't getting to the finish line. And so the idea is, okay, so let's make sure that they know, eyes up, go into every situation with their eyes open and are able to kind of, not as I said before, not just survive, but thrive. How do we get them past that 18-month mark?
Yeah.
Even with our partners, we're asking questions like, tell me the average tenure of a member. And I want to know if it's 3 years that, is the lifespan of a new startup business in this organization. How can we change that to 60 months? How can we change 5 years? We want to make sure that we're actually moving the middle of the bus and not just those top tier performers. And that really means giving them more and more information to do better.
Yeah.
So we try to share as much information as possible, as I said, around taxes and payroll and HR, how to hire, even information that you can actually gather from the Experian and ADP ebook on, now that you've opened the business.
That's right. That's right. I was going to mention that around resources. We partnered together on a new ebook for new entrepreneurs or someone who's formulating, starting their own business. That's right.
Absolutely. And I think that kind of speaks to, if you think about or for the audience, if you have a chance, definitely grab the ebook. But, think about that content. It's really talking about that journey, right? Once you start the business, what happens next? And what are the key things that are important and pivotal to your success? One piece of that is people, right? I, as a person who's managed teams for a long time, I like to tell, all of my leaders, the most important thing that you can do is recruit, right? Getting the right people on the team.
So what advice do you have for small businesses out there hiring their first employees?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I would tell you to be most mindful of is, really the tax implications, the withholdings, all of those things that you don't necessarily consider when you're thinking about the day-to-day tactical aspects of whatever you're doing. If your job is making cupcakes and you need somebody to help, mix the batter, then you're probably not thinking about, well, what kind of tax withholdings are going to happen here and how do I get those folks compliant? I think a lot of the questions that we see particularly with new business owners, are, differences between a 1099 employee and a W-2 employee, and what does that look like? We try to kind of demystify some of that stuff, and if we can, take that off their plate altogether so they can do exactly what they want to do. If it's cupcakes you want to make, we want you to be the best cupcake maker ever, and we want to kind of take that sort of back end heavy lifting off the table for you. It can be complex. There are legislative changes that are happening all the time that do impact small businesses, whether you're a solopreneur or you've got 50 employees. All of them will affect you. And so understanding how to navigate those things are kind of where we are subject matter experts and where we try to lean in the most.
Yeah, it's great advice. And of course, ADP can be there to help you as a new business owner do the payroll correctly, right? And do all the correct withholdings.
Sure.
Well, CT, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Have a great week at National Small Business Week. And folks, regarding the ebook, we're going to leave a link to that in the show notes for this episode. So you can find that on our website. And CT, thanks so much for spending some time with us today.
Thank you so much, Gary.